I am Maro Pebo. I am a Mexican artist, and I'm very interested in the ways that knowledge is produced and constructed and consumed. And in particular, I'm interested in non-Western epistemologies and ways of knowledge, Mesoamerican knowledges of the Mexica and the Maya, and also epistemologies of microorganisms, how we have understood them as enemies, as collaborators, or as a microbial planet. And in understanding microbes, I became very close to the idea of trans-species relationships, how we relate to microorganisms in very deep ways that transform who we are. And these are the main topics that I'm interested in. My idea when I came to Cultivamos Cultura was to continue my work with sculpture. I work sculpting rock that has already lichen, crustaceous lichen growing on it, and making compositions that will attract attention to the beauty and the wonder of these trans-species relationships that lichen are. But I also found the possibility and the language of cyanotypes with Anna Ross, and also with the work of Melissa Monsoon. And whether with them I learned the joy of cyanotypes, and it was like a new language for me. There were so many ideas that I had in my mind that I didn't know how to communicate and convey, and they taught me how to make negatives to cyanotypes. So all my ideas are now materializing, and I'm now recoloring them with tannins. And it's been a beautiful way of producing a book, a folded book in a codex format, going back into the ways that knowledges are produced in Mesoamerica in these folded books. Full of images, and with these images I'm conveying stories that are abstract and that are not always easy to access. This is something that sometimes happens with Mesoamerican cultures. We lost the codes to understand really what's happening, and we also lost the books. So for me, it's interesting to go into these formats and imagine these ways of telling stories through images that have many ways of being read or many ways to being interpreted. How do we understand proteins? How do we represent proteins? And I'm working with different models so we can really see the sculptorical qualities of a protein that are very important. Because if a protein has like the same chemical elements but is folded in a different way, then it doesn't work, or it works as something else. So shape is really important for proteins, and for me, the cyanotypes were a really nice way of showing the shape of proteins. So besides sculpture, and I'm also exploring proteins that way, thinking about cyanotypes was another way for me to explore the proteins and to include them within a story. How do these proteins relate to the beans? How do these proteins work as enzymes that break down the carbs in the beans, etc. So for me, the summer residency in Cultivamos Cultura became very productive as a way to finding my own language, to communicate these ideas and to make them visual and to make them material into something that someone else could also access and interpret in a wide variety of ways, and that I could also bring to others.